You know, more and more people are hanging up on landlines altogether because of the high volume of unwanted calls that come to them daily. So our News 5's Patrick Nelson is looking into the dangers that landlines specifically can pose for their users and why it might be worth finally looking at some other kind of phone option for your home line.
Recent surveys show when you pick up a call on a landline phone, odds are the person on the other end is looking to steal your money, information, or to sell you something, and that's if it's a person at all. A lot of times it's a robocall. It's why the experts at AARP Colorado and ElderWatch say now might be the time to take a look at what kind of phone you're using at home. In the last few years, we've seen it happen time and time again. Fraudsters connecting with their victims through calls on landline phones. In 2018, we spoke with Kathy Moore, who lost hundreds of dollars to an imposter who called her home phone pretending to be with Wells Fargo.
I really did think she was Wells Fargo. She uses the right terminology. She was trying to give me tips on how to make sure my card wasn't used fraudulently again.
In 2019, I spoke with Ralph Peterson, who ran into his own set of problems with someone calling his landline phone.
I would say most of the calls we get on there are robocalls.
And he admits he did something consumer experts say you should never do. He granted the caller remote access to his computer.
So I went ahead and made arrangements for him to do that, but he didn't do anything. It just, the $200 went away, the computer stayed the same.
It turns out the phone number used to call Ralph was flagged as a scam call more than 600 times in one day. And a couple of years later, Susan contacted News 5 about more deception from people calling her landline.
Somebody spoofing those numbers and then trying to sell you solar panels for your roof or trying to get you to give information.
I spoke with program manager for Colorado's AARP and ElderWatch, Mark Federhoff, about the experiences of these viewers.
We were just talking about this. If you get 10 phone calls in a day, there's a good chance that 8 of them are from someone you don't want to hear from, right?
He says it's an ongoing problem that has many families looking to switch up the phones they use at home.
Digital technologies as opposed to the landline phone as a way of alleviating some of those nonsense scam calls that just no one wants to deal with.
People are picking up these calls on their landline and entertaining the person on the other end of the phone. These fraudsters and scammers, they make note of that, right? So, I mean, even just picking up these calls and saying, hey, I'm a real person. Hey, this number works. You're really opening the door to even more calls, right?
You are. Your number is more valuable to that scammer at that time. They might sell it to other scammers at that time too, saying, you know, this person will engage with you, and they engage every time the phone rings.
If you're concerned about this, Mark says the best thing you or your family member can do is explore new phone options and protections.
And the digital mechanisms have a lot more protections and ability to put protections in place to warn people and to block some of those scam calls that are coming through.
So if you're someone who is dealing with all of these unwanted calls on your landline, the experts say now would be the time to make some calls to see if there are better options out there, or at least some better ways to safeguard this line. To help you get started, I've posted some resources on our website right now at KOAA.com.